He will raise you up on eagle's wings.
We were looking for a church home closer to our home, and when we came here, it felt like family. What brings me back every week is the relationships and the people here, but also because of those people, I have learned a lot about my faith.
I think this church has meant a great deal to me and to Frey and to our children. I feel very, very happy that I've had a chance to let them grow in this church where they've been welcomed and well cared for. They have nurtured their relationship with God, and they're now great kids, great citizens. That's probably the greatest joy of all.
In 1978, a group of families met with officials from the Heartland Presbytery about the idea of forming a Presbyterian church in the little community of Stanley, Kansas. On December 3rd of 1978, these families held their first meeting in the basement of the Stanley Bank.
I was working in the Presbytery office, and they were beginning to think about a church out south. The reason they picked this area was because of the land available here, a little over 5 acres.
There was a big pasture across the street, and there was a small pond, and you could see the cows come up to the pond to drink.
In less than 2 years, our congregation had grown to 245 members, representing nearly 100 families. Much like today, the founding members had a vision for sharing the unconditional love of Jesus Christ, both inside and outside the church walls. This determination to share the love of Jesus Christ bore fruit. More and more people began coming to the Presbyterian Church of Stanley.
During the 1990s, the church really began to grow in numbers of people, numbers of programs and activities for all ages. And so it became necessary to start planning for an addition to the building. And so this really provided us a facility in which we could, our programs and activities could continue to grow.
At the work of my hands I sing for joy, oh praise the Lord, sing a joyful song.
Today, the Presbyterian Church of Stanley continues to answer God's call to provide opportunities for spiritual growth and discipleship.
I've been on 5 mission trips, and each time I have been taken out of my comfort zone, which has allowed me to grow closer to God and strengthen my faith. And when you're put out of your comfort zone, you will find that God will work in your life more than you could ever imagine.
Church leaders have identified 7 focus areas in which to effectively direct efforts: evangelism, discipleship, mission, worship for all ages, building enhancements, stewardship, and communication. Our hope is that God will lead us in the 7 areas to soar on eagle's wings.
So one of the things that we're going to do that I'm very excited about is during the 11 o'clock service, Children's Ministries is sponsoring a worship that will happen down in what's now the Rock, and we're going to be spending part of our building improvements to make some enhancements down in the Rock so we can actually provide a worship experience for children that are in kindergarten through 5th grade where they learn different parts of the worship.
This church has a great vision statement, and that statement is to know and make known the unconditional love of God through Jesus Christ. And if you look at that statement, there are really 2 parts to it. You have to know the love of Christ, which really means to build strong disciples, to really help people grow up into the full image of Jesus Christ, to be the people that God has called us to be, and God so wants us, desperately desires us to be. And so we focus on making strong disciples here, but then the other part of that is to make known the unconditional love of God through Jesus Christ. And that really means to take the love of God beyond these 4 walls and to love our community. I think what we're trying to do here is we're trying to build a church that is internally strong and externally focused, building up strong believers in Jesus Christ and then empowering those believers to go out into the community to share His love. Jen and I came to this church because we saw a wonderful congregation with almost unlimited potential for God to do great things. We saw a great children's program. We saw a wonderful youth program. We saw an amazing music program. And we thought to ourselves, and God really laid it on our hearts, that this is a place that just incredible things can happen, that this can really be one of the great churches of the Presbyterian Church, and a church that can really impact the community for Jesus Christ. There is such incredible potential here, and God is doing amazing things already, transforming people's lives and bringing new people in, and just at work in ways that are thoroughly amazing to me. I cannot wait to see what He does next, and especially what He does through this stewardship campaign and through this capital campaign.
But why a capital campaign now? Is it too soon? We don't think so. In fact, we think the timing is perfect. With a new senior pastor comes a renewed enthusiasm and a sense of purpose. We are already deepening our faith in Jesus Christ and growing in witness, mission, and members. God is already raising us up to soar on eagle's wings, but we can soar so much higher. The capital campaign will enable us first to pay off $1.67 million worth of debt. The relief of this debt will free up $143,000 in our budget every year. 2 out of every $3 you contribute will go toward the relief of this debt. It also allows us to grow our ministry and witness in some key areas. Small group ministry and expanded adult discipleship opportunities, particularly in men's and women's ministry and for college students and young adults. Expanded local and global mission opportunities. Greater opportunities for reaching out in Christ's love to the community, sharing the gospel with our neighbors, and promoting the mission and ministry of the Presbyterian Church of Stanley. A new children's worship service. Giant outreach events for our youth featuring bands and nationally known speakers. But that's not all. Our wonderful physical plant is in need of some upgrades and improvements. The capital campaign will allow us to remodel our narthex to help it communicate clearly our missions and ministry, and also to welcome members and visitors into the family of God. The campaign will allow us to purchase a new sound system and better lighting for our sanctuary, as well as a screen to be used selectively during worship and other times. The capital campaign will also let us move our nurseries to the main floor to be easily accessible for visitors. It will allow us to remodel our office space, adding additional room for volunteers to meet and work. We also plan to remodel our church library, turning it into a lounge and gathering space for all ages. We will also refresh our fellowship hall with new carpet, and we surely don't want to leave out our children and youth. The Rock will be remodeled to create an awesome children's worship space, and the Cave will receive some improvements as well. These rooms will become an even better place for our youth and their friends to hang out. It's a long list, an ambitious list. We are hoping to raise $2.4 million. That is a lot of money, but we are confident in what God can do. Jeremiah 32:27 reminds us, "Behold, I am the Lord, the God of all flesh. Is anything too hard for me?" Your session has set the bar high, asking that each household prayerfully consider giving 5% of their annual income per year. That's a lot of money, but we believe that what God is doing in our midst is so much greater.